If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below.
Stop.
Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go.
All right, guys, I'm back, and it's Wednesday, December 19th, and it's 9:09 p.m. Rumor has it that tomorrow there's a good chance of it being the 20th. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Now, Q has not posted today, so we're going to be taking a look at some tasty little Q-bits, and there's a lot of them. So let's get started. And the first one is a story, well, everybody needs a good rat story, don't they? Might cheer you right up. Or not. Let's take a look. Actually, I think I have it already up because I had started recording and then the kitten picked a fight with my other cat, and so, I didn't want all that noise. So we're trying it again. All right, now this, a very interesting story and something. Okay, let me preface this by saying something, okay? Because I don't know if this is the case with this story or not, but we know that sometimes they put things that are coded in the news and it's meant to be sent to other people. And I kind of wonder about this story, and I'll tell you why. I don't know. I'm going to be doing this in an upcoming video very, very shortly about the tunnels underneath DC, because there's a ton of them. And speculation is that well, right now the tunnels are being mapped, and which is odd that was in the news, that somebody has actually received a grant to map all the tunnels beneath DC, because apparently there is numerous tunnels. It's all through DC. And somebody has even postulated that there could be victims of the deep state buried in Arlington Cemetery, because they could be who would disturb Arlington Cemetery to find out. Now, I don't know, that's really pushing it as far as I'm concerned, but there are tunnels underneath Arlington Cemetery. So I don't know, but it's weird that all the tunnel stuff is coming up in the alternative news source. A lot of people are talking about these tunnels. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, then Google it, because a lot of people are talking about these tunnels. On Twitter, everywhere really, except the mainstream news, what's new with that? So it's interesting because we hear this about the tunnels, and then now the rats are being flushed out from underground, and DC, the rats are everywhere in DC. Well, interesting. Are there people down in those tunnels looking for something? Is that what's flushing all these rats out? I don't know. Or was this written as a warning to other deep state members? I don't know. It's coming from the Washington Post, which we know is owned by Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon. So wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, let's get to the story itself. Rats are everywhere in DC, even on the White House lawn. The district for years has been plagued by a growing mischief in its midst. Rats, the four-legged bewhiskered kind, have been spotted roaming the streets, scurrying across alleys, and eating their way through trash cans. I think it's interesting, and I wanted to note this, that they had to, when they said rats in Washington, D.C., that they had to, qualify that by saying it's the four-legged bewhiskered kind. That's kind of sad, isn't it, when you have to differentiate, because when they think rats in Washington, they automatically think politicians. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. On Monday, a rat made its way onto the White House lawn. The nerve. I am standing in our Fox News stand-up location on the White House north lawn and notice in my peripheral vision something moving at my left foot, tweeted reporter John Roberts. I assumed it was one of the ubiquitous White House squirrels, but no, it was a big brown rat. And it was perhaps one of the boldest moves a rat had made since a rodent became known as pizza rat. Now, this is why a lot of words come up in this that makes me wonder, is this written so that other people in the deep state will know that they're sharing something here? I don't know. It just seems weird that we have all this news about the tunnel, and of course we know that there's tunnels that link Comet Pizza, and and we just, it's weird. All right, so it was perhaps one of the boldest moves a rat had made since a rodent that became known as Pizza Rat was seen gorging on a slice in New York. The original Pizza Rat may have been trained to be so bold by eccentric New York artist Zardulu, though other equally hungry rats have been spotted in Manhattan since. See, this is strange. That it's very strangely written piece for the Washington Post. Don't you agree? I mean, it's odd. Social media speculation over the rat's identity and motives ensued. People wondered, was it looking for a job, fleeing a sinking ship? Unlikely. Now, this is extra interesting. According to the district's resident rat guru, Gerard Brown. Now, how would you like that for a job description or a job title, a rat guru? But he is the resident rat guru, Gerard Brown, a program manager at the D.C. Department of Health. It was probably one of many rats flushed out of its burrow by heavy weekend rain. What brings rain? A storm. A storm in D.C. flooded the tunnels, flushing out the rats. It's possible this could be a coded message to someone because it is an odd little... It's cute. It's amusing. But knowing what we know, is that all it is? Water doesn't kill them or reduce them at all. Rats can swim for as long as a week. But what it does do is it makes it difficult for them to find food, Brown said. That draws them out too. Rat sightings correlate with a number of factors, Brown said. Food sources, weather, and population density. Recently, Washington has had a perfect storm. Again, that the word storm is brought up. Tunnels, pizza. Recently, Washington has had a perfect storm of all three, Brown said, with mild winters and booming development bringing more people and trash into the district. On January 1st, an additional $906,000 the city allocated to help the Department of Health get a handle on the district's rat problem. Will kick in. Brown said the money will be used to hire staff and equip exterminators with mobile devices that use geolocation data to track rat complaints in real time, among other things. This, again, let me bring up, could be an excuse for them to go into these tunnels and search and look and see what's down there and what's going on as well. Just saying. Rat complaints are soaring, and D.C. is doubling down on its efforts to kill them. Technology is evolving into rodent control, he said. Calls about rodents to the city's 311 line reached an all-time high in 2017, according to data collected by the Washington Post, totaling 5,310. That is a 50% increase from 2016. By the end of the year, the numbers will likely mirror those from 2017, Brown said. Residents and visitors are encouraged to call 311 to report rat sightings so the city can keep track of which areas are most infected. Brown said the city has not received any reports of rats on the White House grounds in recent years. The White House and its neighboring park, Lafayette Square, are maintained by the National Park Service, which conduct rodent sweeps weekly. Park Service spokesman Jenny Azelmo Sarles said recent rat activity near the White House has not increased. Rats are very much an urban challenge, she said. We haven't seen a change or a need for immediate concern around the White House. Over the past several months, calls complaining about rodents in the vicinity have been sporadic. All right, well, I'm not so sure that we need to read all about the rats, but it is interesting. And I'll say something else, too. I think it's interesting that this is in the news about the rats in D.C., the actual critters, the rats, because to me, it is the physical mirroring what's happening in the spiritual. I don't know. You could call me crazy. Other people have. And I don't have thick skin. So, I don't have thin skin, rather. So, yeah, I don't know. It's possible. All right, well, let's go back. Now that we've had a good rousing rat story, who can beat that? I don't know. I probably should have left that for last, but no, I wanted to give you the good stuff right away. All right, we've got lots of other interesting things here, so let's go on to the next Excuse me. All right. Now, emails reveal Obama admin's push to create Russia scandal hours before Trump's inauguration. Newly released emails show the Obama administration scrambling to create the Russia scandal within 24 hours of President Donald Trump taking the oath of office in January 2017. The desperation of the Obama administration is evident in the emails in which the Obama team tries to involve Democratic Senators Warner and Cardin and Republican Senator Corker in the plot. Close observers know that the Operation Crossfire Hurricane strategy surfaced during the 2016 presidential election and continued well into Trump's presidency, with General Michael Flynn getting snared in a Peter Strzok, Sally Yates ambush play in the early days of the Trump White House. Now, Team Obama's documented effort to cook up the Russia story before Trump's inauguration emboldens a narrative already proved by text messages presented below involving Obama official James Clapper. The Obama people actually thought they could stop Trump from getting sworn in. Judicial Watch, which obtained the emails, they do very, very good work, by the way. Judicial Watch, which obtained the emails in a Freedom of Information Act case, reports in a Thursday, January 5th, 2017 email chain, then State Department Congressional Advisor Hera Abbasi indicates that then Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs Victoria Nuland's bureau was attempting to get Russian investigation-related documents to the office of Senator Mark Warner as quickly as possible. In June 2016, Nuland permitted a meeting between Steele and the FBI's legal attaché in Rome. Nuland told CBS News that the State Department knew about the Steele dossier by July 2016. In the email with the subject line "For immediate review, call sheet for S-call with Senator Warren," Abbasi writes, "I told Cardin's folks that the process is long. Can we ensure that there are no holdups on our end?" Minutes later, Abbasi confirms that Nuland was fully aware of the information that the State Department was providing to members of Congress alleging Russia interference information. This is definitely on your AS radar. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that, but anyway, leaving no doubt that the State Department officials knew they were transmitting classified information in a Wednesday, January 18th, 2017 email with the subject line "Cables/M former Foreign Service Officer Karem Bilge writes to State Department Congressional Advisor Hillary Johnson and others, highest class is secret/no foreign." Johnson replies, "FYI, so we can keep the secret, no foreign," and I think that means no foreign, header, and should declassify it 25 years from tomorrow. I forwarded the fully cleared version to the two of you on the high side. Editor's note, high side is State Department term for high security classification system, but let me know if there's anything else you need from me on this. Note, we'll need to make sure there is someone in Senate security tomorrow who can accept these. And this is very fascinating. On Wednesday, January 18, 2017, Johnson confirms that classified documents were sent to Senator Corker in addition to Senator Cardin, flagging that I sent you a high-side request for clearance of the draft transmittal letter to send documents to Senator Corker and Cardin. Additionally, involved in providing classified information to members of the Senate was Naz Derek, not sure I can pronounce that, but they are senior advisor to the Assistant Secretary for European and Eurasian Affairs. In an email dated Thursday, January 19th, 2017, with the subject line, "Signed, sealed, delivered," Durakoglu, probably not the right pronunciation, apparently confirms that Obama State Department officials were eager to provide the classified material before Trump was sworn into office. "We made the deadline!" Exclamation point. Durakoglu states, emphasis added, "Thank you everyone for what was truly a department-wide effort." Oh, they just... Can you believe that? They didn't even want him to make it to being sworn in. That's how they were all over this like a cheap suit. President Trump was inaugurated less than 24 hours later. In a Wednesday, January 18th, 2017 email, Naz Durakoglu signed off on the document transmittal letter on behalf of her bureau. This letter accompanied the documents to Senator Corker and Cardin. In a Thursday, January 19th, 2017 email, Durakoglu appears to confirm that she is the one who carried the documents from the State Department to Capitol Hill. She states, "I will be carrying over the cables to the Hill." And then it says, Judicial Watch passage ends. Multiple elements of the Obama machine were working overtime on their Russian cooking in the immediate lead up to President Donald Trump's historic inauguration. Why are we not hearing this on CNN or Fox or any of the other news sources? Now, I can't 100% say that they're not reporting this, but I haven't heard it. And of course, I don't spend all my time there either. But don't know. Washington, I mean, I would think that this would be worldwide news. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you think that this should be worldwide news? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Washington, Obama administration, Director of National Intelligence James Clapper held a meeting in his last days in office to discuss the idea of going to a Supreme Court justice to block President Donald Trump's inauguration, according to a high-level member of the intelligence community who spoke with a big league politics source. Clapper discussed blocking the inauguration on the grounds that Trump was an illegitimate president due to alleged Russian interference in the election, according to the sources. It is not known whether Clapper ever actually convened a meeting with a Supreme Court justice to discuss the Russia case, or whether he simply discussed the idea of doing so. By the time Trump entered office on January 20th, the Russian narrative was already underway. A high-level member of the intelligence community who witnessed the meeting said that Clapper discussed going to one of the 3 female Superior Court justices to make the case that alleged Russian interference could invalidate Trump's claim to the presidency. Here's a text the witness sent to Big League Politics source. Here's another text the witness sent to a Big League Politics source around the same time, describing how the deep state was making General Michael Flynn a rising target for his alleged involvement with the Russians, and stating that House Speaker Paul Ryan is a wild card in the deep state wars. So, Big League Politics recently reported on an audio tape in which Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Seymour Hersh admitted that slain DNC staffer Seth Rich was the source for WikiLeaks' release of DNC emails in 2016, not a Russian hack. And we've known this since a year ago, right? That's when Q started letting us know all this stuff, so we've known it for quite a while. Hersh also said that Clapper and Obama administration CIA Director John Brennan helped to create the Russia narrative against Trump, and that should surprise exactly no one. As Big League Politics reported, real estate mogul Timothy Blixath claims that he saw records from CIA and NSA whistleblower Dennis Montgomery proving that Clapper and Obama CIA Director John Brennan oversaw repeated spying on phone calls of President Donald Trump and millions of other private American citizens, including Supreme Court Justice John Roberts. Fired former FBI Director James Comey received evidence from the whistleblower's lawyer, but sat on it. Well, that should surprise, again, no one. In an audio-taped interview conducted before Trump ever ran for president, Blixath spoke to former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio and Detective Mike Zullo. The audio was released in connection with a civil contempt case that the Department of Justice filed against Arpaio. The audio of this conversation appears to only be preserved in one location on the internet, on a whistleblower SoundCloud page. This guy showed me 900 million phone calls, and I see myself in there. I see people I know. I see Donald Trump in there a zillion times, and Bloomberg is in there, Blixath said on the tape, referring to information that Montgomery allegedly showed him. This is jaw-dropping and alarming. I mean, we know this. We know we know that there was, there was collusion, but not on the part of Trump. And they'd been cooking this up. Like, it blows my mind that this is going on, and yet still everybody points to Trump. You talk to the people on the street, that the average person that's not awake, and they're going to say, oh, he's dirty, he's going down. It blows my mind. Anyway, he's a very genius computer guy, Blixeth said of Montgomery. What they did is they were actually working for the CIA, and they mask it as, I'm sure you'll remember this, the contracts with the CIA, of which I had many copies, said that they were decoding Al Jazeera television, said that there was broadcast embedded, remember that, owned by Gore? Al Gore's got part of it now, but it was all bullshit, and that was bullshit. That was a front by the CIA, and this guy, Montgomery, worked for Brennan and Clapper. Those were the two guys running it, Timothy Blixeth told Arpaio and Zulu on the tape. He started out in 2004 with another partner in Reno, Nevada called E-Trepid. They collected about $40 million from the CIA, top security clearance, all kinds of letters. In 2006, they started a new company that my ex-wife owns, and they started doing the same business for the government. What it really turns out they were doing is they were hacking into all of America. Big League Politics called the listed number for E-Trepid Technologies, but we were told that Montgomery no longer works there. That company closed down years ago, sir, a representative said of E-Trepid Technologies. When asked what the company is called now, the representative said, I'm sorry, I can't discuss any more with you. Blixeth claimed in his conversation with Zullo and Arpaio that Brennan and Clapper were running the operation. Everything they said they didn't do, that Brennan said recently, mainly Clapper, it's all bullshit. And I've got it right here, Blixeth said. On the explosive tapes, Blixeth walks Arpaio and Zullo through the details of the program on computer screen. At one point, the three began pulling up specific names of targeted individuals. You know who that guy is? That's the head of the FISA court they hacked into, Reggie Walton, Blixeth tells the investigators. John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was hacked, Blixeth tells Arpaio and Zullo. Insiders have always been skeptical of Roberts' motives for siding with President Obama on the 2012 Obamacare case. While there's still no available evidence that Roberts was blackmailed, the allegation was that he was hacked by Obama officials. Provides some more context into the justice's controversial career. Isn't that amazing? I mean, people have been wondering why he was siding with President Obama. Well, that's why, because they had hacked into him and they'd been listening to his phone calls and probably had all sorts of dirt on him to blackmail him with. Yeah, that's how it goes, I guess, in politics these days, at least for the deep state. So that is pretty amazing stuff, and I would really like to see this on the mainstream news, but I'm not holding my breath because I would probably, I'd die because, it's probably going to be a long time off, and I'd be holding my breath, and that's not good for anybody. All right, let's go back, and this is the best idea I've heard in a very long time. So let's look at this. Brilliant. Ted Cruz calls for $14 billion seized from El Chapo to fund border wall. Doesn't that solve it? What better reason? They seized $14 billion from El Chapo. Why not use that to build the border wall, to keep people like that out? Makes perfect sense to me. Good going, Ted Cruz. I never thought I liked you, but that's a good idea. I don't care who you are. That's a good idea. Why not? The illegal drug trade accounts for the vast majority of mayhem on both sides of the border. Why not take the seized funds from one of the biggest drug dealers in all the world, far behind the drug companies themselves, of course, and build the darn wall? What a brilliant idea. Of course, we're talking Washington, D.C., the place where good ideas and common sense go to die. This idea was originally suggested last year, so bring it back and tell the anti-secure border Democrats to pound sand. I think that is a delightfully good idea, personally. Now, I'm not going to go all into this because I think that's enough of that we need to know, but brilliant idea. Brilliant. Why can't we do that? And think of the money we would save. Because Trump's asking for $5 billion. And yeah, $5 billion, that's a lot of money. But we're spending over $100 billion on illegal aliens every year. Well over $100 billion. So we'd be saving like $95 billion a year. Nobody looks at it that way, though, because it's hard to, we know that there's more going on with the Democrats than just, no, we don't want the wall, we can't afford it. Yeah, right. We can't afford not to build the wall. That is the truth. All right, let's go back. See what else there is. This I found a little odd. I found it very odd, and I'd like to know what you guys think of it, because I'm not quite sure what to think of it. But this came, and it was the 18th of December, which was yesterday, and it was tweeted at 10:34 a.m., and okay, you're saying so, and it's coming from POTUS Schedule, who I follow on Twitter. Tuesday, 18th of December, 2018, POTUS has sent a letter to the Speaker of the House extending the national emergency declared in Executive Order 13818 of December 20th, 2017, blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Now, I remember when that was signed last year, and we were all over that. We thought it was a really good idea, and it is, but I didn't know, was that executive order only good for a year and then it had to be re-signed? I don't know that. And it just seemed odd to me that this is POTUS schedule. This really doesn't have anything to do with POTUS. So, his schedule, rather. It has to do with POTUS. It doesn't have to do with his schedule. So I don't know, why wouldn't it have come from the White House? Why POTUS schedule? Usually they tweet things like, well, the president isn't expected to travel outside the White House today. He's in a secure area, whatever. That's the nature of things that they usually tweet. So I just thought it was a little odd. It kind of struck me odd, seeing as, we're coming up to January rather quickly. So don't know. What do you guys think of this? I would have to look into it further, which I haven't had an opportunity to do yet, to see if that one that he signed a year ago was only good for a year and then it had to be renewed. I don't know. But that's something I'm going to have to look into. And if any of you know offhand, please put it in the comments below. I would appreciate it. And I know that other people appreciate it too, because I know that you guys are pretty good about combing through comments and finding things and saying hilarious things. Oh my gosh, some of you guys. I can't remember what it was. There's somebody and I get to know people that comment all the time. I get to know them and their tone and everything. You get to know who they are and get a feel for who they are. But I can't remember now. I'm gonna have to go back and find it, because there's somebody called Da Critter, and it made me laugh. Laugh, and making me laugh these days is very, very hard to do. So some of you guys are just hysterical. Really, you really are, and you make me laugh so hard. All right, well, let's go and see what else we can get into here. Okay, I think we already looked at that, so I don't know why I put it in there twice. Oh, this is so funny, because and I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but I want to tell you what this woman did, because it's hysterical. It's my humor. It's something I do. Okay, so Baltimore has a gun buyback program, okay? So you take your gun, and they think that this is going to get the weapons off the street. But you know that no real criminal is going to go and trade their gun in, right? Anyway, so over 500 guns were surrendered to Baltimore police within the first hour and a half of a citywide gun buyback program. Participants receive anywhere from $25 to $500 for their unwanted firearms. Okay, well, that's not bad if you have firearms laying around that, are old or whatever you want to get rid of. You could say, I'm getting this off the street. There you go. And get your money and leave. But you know what this woman did? Yeah, she she used the gun buyback cash to buy an even bigger gun. Good going. I mean, I'm for guns. I'm sorry, I don't agree with the whole gun, the Democrat. You give up your guns and you're in big, big trouble. And just ask Venezuela how it went for them. Ask how it went when they gave up their guns, because that's what happened. They gave up their guns, and then what happened, right? It doesn't work. It's never worked. It's never, ever worked. But the Democrats want to convince you that, oh, it'll work here. But yet, why are some of the most violent cities in America gun-free? Tell me that. They can't answer that. Not sensibly. They can answer it. But, I mean, answering it sensibly, they're not able to. So, let's go back and see what else we can get into here. Just wanted to tell that because I admire that woman. Yeah, take your gun, get the money, buy a bigger gun. Sure. All right. Now, this is something that'll make you angry. Not too angry, just angry enough. You know, you don't want to be too angry, but sometimes you just want to be just angry enough. This is going to make you angry. Just angry enough. All right. Trump wall censored. GoFundMe page for Trump border wall removed from trending campaigns. Now, I don't know if you heard this, but somebody had started a GoFundMe page for the border wall because, you know what? There's a lot of people in the States, myself included. I'd chip in whatever I could. I really would. And you know what? I think a lot of Americans, if you said to them, look, you know what? They're not going to fund this. We're going to have to fund this ourselves. Do you not think America would come up with that cash? They would. I know they would. So this guy starts a GoFundMe page. Great idea. Brian Colfage, he is a triple amputee Air Force veteran who is behind the GoFundMe the wall effort on GoFundMe, told the Gateway Pundit that he believes the crowdfunding site has begun censoring the fund to build the wall along our southern border. Well, of course they are. Of course they're censoring it. Disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And I would assume that this is him with his beautiful family, and they are a beautiful family. Absolutely beautiful family. And so anyway, yeah, there you go. They don't want to fund the wall. So America says, you know, this veteran, obviously a wonderful patriot, says, okay, well, let's go start a GoFundMe wall, because obviously he has faith in other Americans that they want this wall bad enough to put their money where their mouth is. You know, seriously, it wouldn't take a lot of money from if every single person that could give something. It might be $1, it might be $2, it might be the cup, you know, 3, whatever, 5. Some people might be able to give 100. Some people might be able to give 1,000. I don't know, but I bet you a lot of people would. I know they would. But no, GoFundMe says, sorry, no, this no good. Gotta censor this. Unbelievable. And yet, so believable. Anyway, thought you'd like to know that. Are you mad? Are you mad? Are you really mad? Or are you just mad enough? Okay, just checking. Okay, and I bet here's something you won't hear in the mainstream news. I bet you any money you will never hear this in the mainstream news. And that's why I'm bringing it to you. Because there's some things that you just need to know. Yes, I know Diet Coke is bad for me. And I have cut way down. And I'm almost ready to. Anyway, enough about Diet Coke. All 83 ethics complaints against Brett Kavanaugh dismissed. Why aren't we seeing that all over the news? No? Yes, we do. All 83 complaints of judicial misconduct filed against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh have been dismissed, BuzzFeed News reports. The big picture, the complaints included allegations that Kavanaugh made false and partisan statements during his confirmation hearings, lacked judicial temperament, and disrespected members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. The panel of federal judges behind the decision called the complaints against Kavanaugh serious, but said the cases had to be dismissed given Supreme Court justices are not bound by the same code of conduct that dictates the process for pursuing complaints against other judges. So I think that they were just trying to invent stuff, personally, and couldn't make anything stick. That's basically it. And we know that they were just inventing stuff, because look what they did with two-door Ford. We know that any thinking person, okay, this is how ridiculous that was. Okay, I'm surrounded here with people that hate Trump. I mean, hate him and believe everything our news says about him, which every single night it's blah, 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 blah about President Trump. And it's all lies. Every bit of it's lies. And most of it is not even based in any shred of fact. So these people are not awake at all. And yet, my mother, watching the news, and I'll tell you, she believes what she hears on the news here. She doesn't understand that it's all controlled. And she's in her 80s. I mean, I gotta give her a break. But anyway, she's watching the news and she's listening to Ford, and she goes, that woman's lying. She's lying. And I said, yeah, yeah. And she goes, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. There's no way that's true. There's no way she's telling the truth. I mean, my mother, and I mean, other people that were around me that are not awake were saying the same thing. Like, oh, come on. Who? You can't believe that. That's ridiculous. The Democrats all believed it, it seems. So, or did they? No, they didn't, because they knew. They knew what was happening because they set it up, right? All right, I'm going to skip that for now. And we know, of course, that Loretta Lynch had a closed-door interview today, so let's take a look at that. Apparently, she was a lot more forthcoming. Lawmakers, Loretta Lynch, forthcoming in closed-door interview, answered more questions than Comey on certain topics. Well, that's good to hear. Hopefully she was truthful. We don't know, because it was a closed door. Former Attorney General Loretta Lynch finished up a 6-hour closed-door interview with lawmakers Wednesday evening. Loretta Lynch arrived on Capitol Hill Wednesday morning as part of a joint investigation with the House Oversight and Government Reform Committees into the handling of the Clinton email investigation and her role in Russiagate. Lawmakers wanted to ask Loretta Lynch questions about her June 2016 tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton at the Phoenix International Airport and Comey's decision to usurp the DOJ when he gave a presser exonerating Hillary Clinton on July 5th. Lynch, Obama's corrupt attorney general, was subpoenaed by the House Judiciary Committee on Thanksgiving, along with the equally corrupt former FBI Director James Comey. Comey testified twice to the committees, including on Monday, and refused to answer many questions. According to the lawmakers, Loretta Lynch was much more forthcoming about certain topics. Lynch and her lawyers weren't raising objections to questions like Comey and his lawyers did on many topics. That's good to know. Maybe she's cooperating. That would be wonderful. Leaving the interview, Democrats said there was nothing new to learn from Lynch. Since when do we believe the Democrats? While Republicans pointed to her differences with Comey in the Clinton investigation and said there were still questions about her meeting with the former president in 2016. Lawmakers said Lynch's interview was less contentious than Comey's, and she and her attorneys weren't raising objections to questions like Comey did with certain topics. Republican Congressman Issa said there were still questions over what happened with her tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton, suggesting that when Lynch met with him in 2016, Clinton could have helped the career of the nation's top law enforcement officer. So Republicans waited too long to subpoena Loretta Lynch and James Comey. House Democrats will take back the gavel in about 2 weeks. The House Judiciary will not release a transcript transcript of Wednesday's interview with Loretta Lynch. The panel will release a transcript of today's interview as part of its investigative report, alongside transcripts of 16 other interviews by end of year. House Judiciary Committee will not release a transcript today. Okay, well, that's just basically saying the same thing I just read. So there you go. To me, it's getting, and I know you guys must be feeling the same way, it's getting frustrated. It's frustrating because I want these people brought to justice. And I know there are things going on behind the scenes because we saw that whole display at the funeral and how frightened and in literal horror and shock both Laura Bush and Jeb Bush were. And then, George Bush Jr., just had his head down, and Laura said, is this real? And George said, yep, and put his head down. So, according to lip readers anyway. So there you go. There are things going on, but it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. And I want it like now, but I also realize that the reasoning behind it taking so long, but still, the longer it takes, the more fuel the anti-Q and anti-Trump people have. That's how I feel about that. All right, now this is an interesting thing. It's by Vincent Kennedy, and Mrs. Claus retweeted it, or no, rather liked it. Didn't retweet it, but retweet it, but liked it. Now, Mrs. Claus, a lot of people surmise that is Carolyn Kennedy. So, don't know. The rabbit hole is deep, patriots. Don't lose your identity when you learn dark details. Too many are isolating themselves because they can't relate to the sleeping. Don't deny others of the love you can offer. Family is everything. They don't have to be blood. Time to unite. And I think that's interesting because it says don't lose your identity when you learn dark details. Is he hinting that there's about to be dark details released, or is this nothing? I don't know. But it is a good point because I think a lot of us do isolate ourselves because we can't relate to the sleeping anymore. We just can't. It's hard. It really is hard. And I don't know about you, but my tongue gets really sore from biting it all the time. But anyway, now let's see. I'm gonna, I think, wrap this up shortly, but I wanted to show you this because it's important. Well, it's not really, but it is. Yep. Now, I'm not a fan of Piers Morgan, okay? But this this is awesome. It's from the Daily Mail. Stop it, Mishel. For someone who hates going low, your bitchy sniping at Melania just to sell books is a cheap, tacky shot. Well, thank goodness somebody just said it. Yeah. And that's all it is. Oh, Mishel, not you too? Just when I thought there was one person in public life that soared effortlessly and admirably above the incessantly ugly partisan trash talk that pervades every second of American airspace these days, Mrs. Obama has let me down, and frankly, she has let herself down too. Appearing on last night's Jimmy Fallon show, Mishel inexplicably decided to plunge the bitchy knife firmly into the back of her successor as First Lady, Melania Trump. Well, that shouldn't surprise anyone. The attack came after Fallon showed her a photo of her and her husband Barack boarding Air Force One for the last time after Donald Trump's inauguration in January 2017. Can you just walk me through, said Fallon. But before he could even finish the question, Mishel interrupted with a sneering, "Bye, Felicia." Fallon collapsed with laughter and I don't understand why she would say that. "Bye, Felicia?" Fallon collapsed with laughter, and the audience whooped with joy, and wherever she was, Melania Trump must have winced with anger and humiliation. The phrase, "Bye, Felicia," is an intense derogatory one. Okay, I didn't even know that. I've never heard that before. It was first coined by rapper Ice Cube's character Craig in the 1995 cult stoner comedy Friday. A local girl named Felicia who annoys the neighborhood with her constant begging and shameless attempts to live off of others annoys Craig. Wait a minute. So, let me get this straight. That movie is about a local girl named Felicia who annoys the neighborhood with her constant begging and shameless attempts to live off of others, and she's making that applicable to Melania Trump? Does Melania Trump live off of others? She was a very successful model. She's very intelligent, and she's married to Donald Trump, who makes his living building, developing. And Michelle Obama, of all people, is applying that to Melania, saying that she's living off of other people? Are you kidding me? They lived in the White House. What did they do? They didn't do anything. Trump did more in the first month of being president than he did in 8 years. I don't get this. But anyway, so she says, goodbye, Felicia. And when she asks if she can borrow his car and a marijuana joint, he point blank refuses, then looks away and says simply, bye, Felicia, in a dismissive tone. The phrase is now widely used, especially on social media, as an ice-cold kiss-off for unpleasant people who you want to avoid. Speaking of unpleasant people that I want to avoid, I think it would be her, him, whatever it is. It means, depending on which dictionary you refer to, a variant on, I'm done with you, I have no interest in you or anything you have to say. It's specifically designed to cause hurt to the recipient. What a classy person Michael is not. Michelle Obama likes to pride herself as being a streetwise and down with the kids, so we'll have known all of this when she said it. She is a very smart woman too. Well, I don't know. So she will have known that Felicia is a very similar phonetic name to Melania, so it would be very obvious to whom she was referring. This slur would be bad enough, but Michelle wasn't finished there. No, I doubt she was. Talking of the stress of that inauguration day, she said, then the Tiffany's box, and crunched her face into an expression of withering theatrical bemusement. She was referring to the expensive picture frame gift that Melania gave her outside the White House. Who reacts to that way, to a gift? Aren't most people gracious? Okay, even if you're receiving it from someone, may not be your favorite person, you're still gracious. Even if it's something you don't really like, you still are very gracious to that person. I don't get this. I really don't. I think it's the lowest class thing she could have possibly done. But she continues to surprise me, so who knows if it's really actually the lowest. So anyway, so she didn't like the Tiffany box, I guess. Wonder why. She was referring to the expensive... Okay, we got that. Let's go on. And there's that, you know, I still remember that because it was very awkward. It was very awkward. Melania had given her a Tiffany box containing a beautiful frame, which she received in front of the cameras, pulling a face indicating it had caught her off guard. Fallon laughed again as the audience cheered, and for a second time Melania was being humiliated on national television for the apparent crime of giving her predecessor as First Lady a nice gift. A similar gift, incidentally, to the one Michelle Obama handed Laura Bush on the same steps on Barack's inauguration day, so why all the faux surprise and confusion when Melania did the same for her? Exactly. Why? And there, see, there's Michelle Obama giving a present to Laura Bush. It is a tradition. It's not anything anybody should be surprised about. But apparently, don't know. So, and Michelle did it, so she should know. This isn't unusual, right? Anyway, I think it was the color of the box and that Melania was dressed in Tiffany blue, and I think that this is a sore point for them for some reason. I don't know. I don't get it, but, well, I mean, I might get it if JFK Jr. was really alive, and none of us know that. So it's all speculation at this point until it's absolutely confirmed. I have a sneaking suspicion he is, but I know that there's just as many people that say absolutely not, that's ridiculous. So we'll have to see. Anyway, I've met Michelle Obama once and found her a delightful person, warm, friendly, and highly personable. I've also met Melania Trump many more times and always found her exactly the same. They're two very different women, but they have shared the rare experience of being First Lady. Well, Michelle Obama never experienced being a First Lady. Not really. Okay. I'll leave it there. And I think most dispassionate observers would say that they have both been excellent at executing one of the world's most difficult goldfish bowl roles. Every move they make, every word they speak, every dress they wear is exposed to the intense global scrutiny, comment, and criticism. It must be relentlessly intrusive and stressful existence, and I applaud them both for doing it with a touch of class, elegance, and dignity. You can hate Barack Obama, but still admire the way his wife Michelle conducted herself during her time at the White House, just as you can hate Donald Trump and still admire his wife Melania for the way she is conducting herself, perhaps even more so given that she's had to endure massively more scorn, ridicule, and shame over her husband's scandals, which I don't believe that... Anyway, what I find far harder to admire is Michelle Obama's decision to now publicly mock, denigrate, and ridicule her successor. And I find it even more unpalatable to admire that she did it while flogging her new best-selling autobiography. And Piers says, it's a great book, by the way. I doubt that. But anyway, there's always been an unwritten rule that first ladies don't whack each other, not least because they all know how tough the gig is. So why pour yet more fuel on the already ferocious fire? It's no secret that Michelle and Melania don't get on, but there's no reason they have to. It's true. Nobody's asking them to like one another. We don't care. But be polite. Be respectful. Come on. Something that's dying in this world very, very quickly. It's no secret. Okay, we just read that. Their apparent mutual dislike doesn't mean they should openly criticize each other, particularly as a tool to sell books and make money. So there you go. And then Michelle tells Colbert that she has little sympathy for Melania. In November, when asked if she could empathize with Melania's claim to be one of the world's most bullied women, Michelle snapped, "I can't." Then she pointedly said she learned not to take myself so seriously in the role by meeting with military families. The message was clear. Stop being so self-obsessed, Melania. You know what? I don't believe she's self-obsessed at all. I really don't. I don't get that from her. And I just don't. I really don't. I think that she is bullied more than... Look at Michelle, how many magazines that she's graced the cover of. And yet, here is Melania, who is clearly one of the most beautiful women in the world. Clearly. But nobody knocking on her door, is there? I mean, how many... She's never been on a guest on talk shows and stuff. She was on Hannity, and she did a fantastic job. But it's like, she is being bullied. Absolutely, she's being bullied. But anyway... And a while ago, Michelle Obama told the world her mantra was, when they go low, we go high. How sad to now see the same Michelle Obama, a woman I greatly admire, now herself go solo simply to belittle her successor, flog a few more books, and further line her already bulging pockets. I agree. I'm not a fan of Piers Morgan, but I do agree with everything he said there, and I'm glad that somebody at least had the fortitude to say it. So I think I'm going to stop there because I think we've been going for about an hour, and I may be back. I don't know. It's 10 o'clock. It's getting on. I may not. I may save it till tomorrow. Got some few other things that I really do want to discuss, one of them being the tunnels, and some things like that are being discussed out there in the blogosphere. So I do want to do that very, very shortly. Not sure if it'll be tonight, but Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it, and all your kind comments. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for the prayers and your support over my cat. I really appreciate that more than you know. It was incredibly, incredibly difficult for me. Just had a bond with that cat unlike I've ever had with any other animal. And 21 years is a long time to share your life with an animal and then lose them. So I appreciate it. It's really helped more than you guys are aware of. So I say this a lot and I mean it. I do have the best listeners. I really do. So I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a good evening. Rest well, stay safe, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Thanks so much. I can't get back. I can't shut it off. Okay.